Hey guys, welcome back to NY Sports MC. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. See, we got Andrew, Ed, Steven in here so far. Um, let's see. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video I had come out Friday. I know it's a longer video for what I put out. I usually don't put out long content like that unless it is the live stream. But had a great opportunity to have him come on. Kind of got put together a little bit last minute. Didn't want to make it a live event because I didn't know what the turnout may be and wanted to just be able to have a conversation with Joe. So we did record it. Obviously, got it up there. It's about 50 minutes. So some great content just kind of going back and forth. I know he's excited to come back on. So we definitely want to plan to do some more stuff in the future. Like I said, it was a lot of fun getting to talk to him about just some of the more recent Jet news that has been going on. So there has been some other news too that I haven't really commented on yet. I felt like it wasn't really um, Long Beach Joe, Stephen. I had a video come out on Friday with Long Beach Joe. You gotta go check it out. Hey Joe, how's it going? I see Demonic's in here. Dotson is looking for people to join the Peace Corps with him. Yeah, he's going to Africa. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I can respect that. He wants to go and give back and try to help people during this time. Can't really be too upset about it, especially when you look at Doxson. Like, this could have been his last chance, right? So he's really trying to put other people first. Like I said, his football career could be over now, or it's going to be a lot harder to make a team. So you gotta commend him for doing that for sure. Yeah, but he wasn't our first round pick, Andrew, so not that big of a deal. But so one of the pieces of news I just wanted to mention today, since we are live and I'm going to be on here for like an hour like usual and need something to talk about, I didn't think it was worthy of doing a whole video on because I think it's complete ludicrous. But this whole notion that the Jets should tank or the Jets should use their draft capital to acquire Trevor Lawrence is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I did not make a video on it. But obviously I'll talk about it on here. Absolutely ridiculous. You'd be putting him, first of all, I'm a big believer in Sam Darnold. I think that he's going to be, and he is the answer for this team. But you would be putting Trevor Lawrence into the same position that Sam Darnold's been in, with not enough talent around him. And that's the biggest issue, right? It has nothing to do with Trevor Lawrence or his ability or anything like that. Is you have to use this draft capital to build the team. And that's the thing. I honestly believe that Sam is the answer. You've seen so many good plays, so many things that he does that is, you can't coach. The way he, his feel for the pocket, his ability to escape the pocket, and his ability to throw on the run is unmatched. He's one of the best in the game at throwing on the run. And that's right now. And I think he's going to continue to improve. The thing is, you build the rest of this team. You use the next 2 years or so to build the rest of this team. You have 4 first-round picks. And by that point, if Sam really hasn't shown anything, which I highly doubt, then you draft a quarterback, but the rest of the team should be much, much improved because you spent 4 picks on the rest of the team and 4 first-round picks on the rest of the team really building it up. So that's the thing. We have to build a team. And then, like I said, we have Sam here. We got to give him more time. He's still one of the younger players in the league, so you got to give him time. Drafting Trevor Lawrence would just be a waste of the draft capital that we have. Adam Gase is not the answer, but Sam is, in my opinion. Yeah, like I said, I'm going in open mind this year, but definitely believe Sam is the answer. And I think Sam can handle, if Gase is not the answer and Gase gets fired, I think Sam can handle that. I don't think that's something that's going to – yes, we wasted his rookie contract at that point, but I don't think that's something that would derail his career. Like I said, he's still only 23 years of age. He just turned 23 too. So he's still got a long, long career left. I would not feel like if we had to move on from Gase, that we'd have to move on from Sam as well. I don't think they go hand in hand, not at all. I think he can pick up a system pretty quickly. He kind of showed that last year. So – like I said, we'll have to see. I'm hoping for a good year. Like I said, I hope Gase is the coach for the next 10, 15 years. That means he's doing something right? And that means we're playing well. He's not going to be the coach for the next 10 years if he's been coaching the way he's coached the last 4 or 5 years. So, like I said, we'll see what happens this year. I just hope that we have a full season at this point. That makes no sense. Dark there, tied at the hip. No. Like I said, Steve, I think that Sam can overcome it. But I'm not faulting Sam Darnold if he fails. That blame goes to Chris Johnson and ownership for failure to hire the right GM and coach in the right time. If Sam busts out, I'm blaming Sam. I'm not blaming Sam. So I don't, like I said, I think that there's still a lot of time left. Like people think that he has to be a bust out like now. He was so young when he came in. He was so young, and that has to be factored into it, right? Because he could have easily been drafted this year, and if he didn't play well this year, you're not going to say he's a bust. So if you're looking just at his age, you got to give him time. You have to give him time. He's younger than Joe Burrow. The Bengals are not going to say that Joe Burrow is a bust if he doesn't do well this year. And I don't want to hear that, yeah, well, he's been in the league, he has to show it. The thing is, Joe Burrow wasn't good enough to be in the league back then. Joe Burrow wasn't, even going into this past year, he was not a first-round pick. He had a very, very good year, and that propelled him to the top of the draft. And could he be a very good quarterback? Sure he can. But you can't say that, oh, well, Sam's been in the league, so he should know, he should be progress further. He's still very, very young. So I'm not saying it's make or break for Sam. I'm not saying that Sam is tied to Gase either. I don't believe that as much, Stephen, that Gase hired Douglas. I think Gase had a part in it because Gase and Douglas have a history together. But everybody knew that Douglas was the top GM guy. So we were going after him regardless. And I think everybody realized that. It's just obviously the Gase connection, I think, helped us to secure Douglas and to convince Douglas to come. But I don't think that Gase hired Douglas. No. I think that, like I said, he was well respected around the league, and that's why he got the opportunity. Absolutely not, Stephen. I think that you're tying too many people together here. Douglas would easily be able to hire his own coach. If the year does not go well and Gase loses the locker room, you better believe Joe Douglas gets to hire another coach. And the thing is, Joe Douglas got like a 6-year deal. Gase didn't get that, and they didn't give Gase an extension. So they're not even close to lined up on the years. So I definitely do not think that they're tied to the hip. Not at all. Gase is a coach. I don't believe anything the fake news Manish Wyatt tells me about Gase. Yeah, you can't. That's the thing with Manish. I mean, take anything he says with a grain of salt right now because he has not been as accurate with the new GM and the new people in place. But anything he says about Gase, you got to take with a grain of salt because he obviously shows that he does not like Gase, and he's just coming out. And any little thing that he may get against Gase, he's going to try to blow it up because they just don't get along. Because Gase calls him out. Gase will call him out if he says something stupid. Like a blind man. So, yeah, it's going to be so it looks like the college football is probably not going to have a season this year from everything I heard, which was weird because they came out and they showed a schedule, and then they came out and said they're not going to play, and nothing had really changed in between there. And actually, Damian Woody tweeted that out, and that's how I even heard it because he said it doesn't make any sense. You guys tweet out a schedule, and then a few days later, you tweet out that you're probably not going to have a season, but nothing coronavirus-wise has really changed over that short period of time. So it is interesting, and we'll have to see what happens with college. But I think that that's going to make for a very, very interesting draft next year if there's no college season. When Jets continue rebuilding next draft, what positions need to be addressed with higher picks, O-line and wide receiver? Yeah, I mean, we got to see what happens with this year. We have a lot of 1-year guys. We have a lot of young guys, so we have to see obviously how they play this year. But going into it right now, Joey, you'd have to say wide receiver is one where we really have to see, because if Perryman plays well and they potentially sign him to a long-term deal in season, and Mims is developing well, I don't know if wide receiver would be that high of a need. It'll still be a need, but you're looking at edge rusher is going to be a need for sure. Corner is going to be a need unless you have like Blessian Austin and Hall like really show out, and now you have two young guys that you have faith in. But offensive line, the guard position is definitely something where you can see them look to address kind of early on. And yeah, I mean that would really be the main ones: edge, corner, possibly wide receiver, and guard. Possibly tackle if Fant doesn't work out. You can look to see if they draft another tackle. Yeah, he is. Greg Van Roten. Apparently, Greg Van Roten. So Demonic said that he's living his dream playing for his hometown team. Apparently, Van Roten's agent was trying to get more money from the Jets, and with his agent not even present, he signed the contract because he said that was enough. He goes, "Look, I just want to play. It's a good enough deal for me. I want to play there. It's where I want to be." So that was interesting when I heard that. By the way, I had on. The only thing Gase did well was help us get Joe Douglas. Yeah, no, it's definitely the best thing he's done so far. I have a feeling Fent is going to stick around past this year, and Clark is going to be next year's left guard. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, Fent has the right attitude. We just have to see, and he has shown on tape some good stuff. If you guys like Jets X Factor, Joe Blewett, from everything I've heard, Joe Blewett is very high on Fent. So we'll have to see. But he could be the answer. And I absolutely want to see Clark as the starting left guard sooner rather than later. Because I said, I am a fan of Alex Lewis, the person. I love that he came out and defended his head coach when Manish was just ripping him. I love how fiery he is on the field. He does, he'll give you one of those unnecessary roughness penalties just because he's going to stick up for his teammates. The thing with him, though, is he does commit too many penalties. He's just not good enough. I mean, can he improve? Sure. But a lot of holding penalties, things like that. So I really don't want to see Alex Lewis starting. I think he'd be a very good backup guard. But Clark has got to be that answer there. And I'll tell you what, if he's the answer at left guard, that is a nasty left side. Those guys both finish out the plays, him and Becton. They both are big dudes. And I tell you what, they'll be mauling people on that left side for years to come. And I'm really, really hoping that is the case because we can use that for sure. He is definitely a walking holding penalty. So, but the good thing is we brought in two players on that offensive line, and McGovern and Van Roten, who rarely, if at all, get penalized. So hopefully help balance it out. Yeah, definitely going to be running that left side. I mean, Le'Veon Bell needs to just follow Mackay. Just follow him. That guy will pave the path for sure. So with 2 picks in this upcoming draft, I know I'm trying to not get too far ahead with – obviously we haven't even played the season yet, but it's going to put a lot of pressure on Rex Hogan, Joe Douglas, and the rest of these guys with – little exposure to these players for a whole year. Now, obviously, they start scouting these guys more than just their last year, right? Just the year that they're going to be coming out. But as I mentioned in that conversation with Long Beach Joe, is that you have these big-time schools that churn out these players, and every single year, these players are one and done as far as starters go because the programs are just so good. Like I said, Quinnen Williams was a one and done, right, as a starter. The year before, Quinnen Williams, I mean, he was touted, right, as a top high school prospect that came into the program. But, there was really no game film on him up until that last season when he kind of burst onto the scene and became the first-round pick for the Jets. Like I just mentioned before, Joe Burrow was not seen as a first-round pick going into this past season. So you're going to have a lot of those guys that either they're going to return to school because they're going to say, hey, look, I'm going to get drafted somewhere mid-late rounds because I don't have enough game film. Let me go back. Or, you're going to have these guys come out and they're going to be a complete, like, where did these guys get drafted? And you can see a bunch of steals because of that, right? Maybe you get somebody later than if there was a season. But then you could also get a bunch of busts, right? So there's always years where people that are at the top of the draft going into it, right? If you look at a mock draft right now, and then if there was a college football season, and then you look at a mock draft after the college football season, there's a lot of different names, right? People fall. Ja'Kai Polite, right? Everybody thought Polite was going to be a first-round pick. Had the issues. We got him in the third. Ended up never playing it down, right? So the lack of a college football season is going to be extremely, extremely interesting on what happens in the draft next year. I think if there's no college football, don't you think it would be wise to get all your picks in the top 2 or 3 rounds? Maybe. Like I said, it's going to be a complete crapshoot. There'll be a few guys that that can't miss, but it's going to be a crapshoot. Gangrene David, thank you for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. How's it going? But yeah, because definitely want more picks in the top, right? Because there's going to be people like Rousseau. There's going to be people like Surtain, that wide receiver. I can't think of his name right now. There's a bunch of guys at the top of the draft that we know they're highly talented players, right? So yeah, having the ability to try to go get those guys, great. But we just don't know with a lot of those other people. Like I said, somebody like a Quinnen Williams, I think somebody like that would go back at that point because it's too much of an unknown, right? The people that are coming into these big programs, filling these spots of these people that got drafted really high, they're probably going to have to go back because, like I said, they just don't have any film on them. So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be very, very interesting to draft. Are you live streaming Sunday night after season starts or post game? No, I'm not going to be live streaming any of the games. So I am down in Florida now. I lived most of my life in New York, New Jersey, but I'm in Florida. And because I'm in Florida, I do watch most of the games over the internet, which means I'm on a highly, highly delayed feed. So I just don't want anything spoiled with the comments, and I don't want to give you guys such delayed feedback. But I'm sure I'll have post-game reactions and feedback. I've thought about, and that also depends too. I watch a lot of games with my dad, so if I'm watching with my dad, I won't be doing as much, or they'll be coming out later. But anytime that I watch a game by myself, I may do like a little halftime reaction, a quick video upload during halftime, since I won't be live streaming, just so you guys get my reaction during halftime. It's just something I've thought about. Actually, now that I think about it, I meant I'm be watching any games with my dad this year because he is very fed up with everything going on and the political stuff that's going on in sports now, to where he said he's not going to watch, but we'll see when the season actually starts, if he watches or not. But no, and I'm going to move this Sunday streams probably to Wednesday is what I was thinking. Wednesday will be right in the middle, so we can recap the last week. We can kind of preview the next week. So I'll probably move these to Wednesday. I kind of want to see what some of the other Jets YouTubers, what days they're staying on, because like I said, I know we all like to watch all the other ones as well. So want to make sure that we're all have some time to check out everybody, right? So we'll see what happens. If the season is canceled, how would the draft go? Big Green, that is a great question, one that I've been asking as well. I have no idea. Are they going to just steal a playbook from the NBA and put a bunch of names in the ping pong balls? I have no idea. I really don't know. Could help us, could hurt us, right? We have 2 first-round picks. So I don't think they can fairly use like last year's and just say, hey, well, everybody drafts in the same order again, like the Jets are 11 again. I don't think the team should really go for that. What I would be in favor for, and I think it's the fairest way to do it, is to do the ping pong setup like the NBA and just give the people the best odds from last year if there was no NFL season. So the Jets would have the 11th best odds at the number 1 pick. The Bengals would have the best odds, right? Set up the odds to where the teams that were the worst have the best odds at the best picks. But I really don't know. They'd have to do something. I don't think it's going to cancel either. Like Steven said, I think that there's just too much money to be lost that they're not going to get canceled. I think the bubble idea. I think the NBA's got it great. You haven't heard anything about COVID cases with the NBA. Meanwhile, you got baseball that had 2 teams quarantined already. But with football, how do you do a bubble, right? Where is there really, unless you just go to a place where they have a bunch of practice fields and you're having them literally play on practice fields because it doesn't really matter because there's no fans, right? The idea with the bubble in the NBA is that they have the area where there's a bunch of courts, and courts are kind of small, and there are definitely places that have a bunch of indoor courts, so they can get that done. But football fields, you'd have to do something like that where it's a big practice facility, a lot of different practice fields, because you have to have multiple games kind of going on either at the same time or the same day. So you want more, multiple fields. So it's going to be – I don't know how they would do a bubble in the NFL, though. Talking after it starts. You're talking if the season got cut short, Big Green? Again, I still don't know what they would do for the draft. I think it also depends on how much of the season they got done. If they got a good majority of the season done, I can potentially see them just using the standings that they had. But I don't know. That would be a lot of negotiations and probably a lot of ideas popping out. I believe so too, Stephen. I think the election is going to end a lot of this. But you know what's funny is that, like, the NBA, for example, and baseball, like all these sports, they stopped, right? Or didn't even start in baseball's case. And now they started again. It's like the cases are still going up in certain places. We haven't really – so I don't understand. Like, I guess it just gave them time to kind of come up with a game plan and come up with procedures. But the thing is, like, it's not like we're past the virus now that these other sports are coming back. So I think you just got to play through it. I hope so. I hope so, Steven. We'll have to see, though. There's going to be a lot of – I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter who's winning. The other party's going to argue corruption and that they cheated. I guarantee you that right now. With everything going on in the world right now, whoever wins, Biden or Trump, the other one's saying that the other guy cheated. Russia helped. China helped. Mail-in ballots helped. It's going to be a complete crapshoot. If there's no NFL season, don't you think there won't be a draft? I think they have to have a draft, though, because there's going to be players that are still taking their courses and graduating. What are you going to say now, right? So, yeah, there'll be some people that still leave early, but you have people that are still taking online courses and not going to graduate. And what are they going to do? Just pick up a regular job until the year after, and now they have a whole year off, 2 years off of playing, and now they're going to try to get drafted? No, I think they're still going to have a draft. Let's just cancel the world. Let's see what else. Since there's no college ball, means lots of fields available. NFL bubble plan. Like I said, they definitely could try to do a bubble, but who knows? It doesn't seem like it. There's been no talk of it. Who will Florida vote for? Florida will vote for whoever wins. Florida is a huge, huge state when it comes to the elections. It is a swing state, every bit of it. It gets down to the wire. Florida, they usually last election they did recounts, everything. It is, and it's funny because I usually say, like, coming from New York and New Jersey, I was always like, your vote doesn't count because they're so far to the left, right? But in Florida, it really does matter because it's so super close every year. Well, not every year, every election. Meanwhile, I live in an area, Jersey and New York, where it's Democratic people, idiots keeping Democrats in office. It means all right. Well, this is all right. Let's get back to football because this is not This is not a political platform here. Swing state big time. Jets training camp used to be in Cortland. Yeah. Yeah, now it's in Florham Park. It used to be in the real Jets training camp is in Hofstra. That's the real Jets training camp. They were there forever out on Long Island. I loved when they were out there. I used to go every year, watch them. That's where I actually got the football from with some autographs back when I was in high school. I don't know what year this was. This was Pennington. I think Pennington was on the team. Brian Thomas was on the team because I see BT99. That's him right there. Mike Nugent was on the team. I know that for sure because I was in high school trying to go make it to the collegiate level and kick. And I actually got a chance to talk to Mike Nugent. He was a very, very nice guy. He was actually out on the field stretching, and I told one of the other players, and they went over to him. He got up, jogged right over to me, and just spoke to me for like 5-10 minutes. So that was really, really cool, right? Because he was obviously in the middle of doing some other things and came over to talk to me. So I'll always like Nugent because of that. He was not as good as our draft capital that we use on him, but still, very nice guy. What position would Trump play if he was on the Jets? He'd probably play guard. No, I have no idea. Fullback. But we're in Florida. I'm in Dayton. St. Lucie. With the Mets. Yeah, the Hofstra was great. And it was so like Long Island's just all Jet fans, right? Because mostly Jet fans because of that. So it was just really great atmosphere out in Hofstra. And it was like Wayne Corbett's stomping grounds too, and he's one of the like all-time fan favorites. So it was just great having those practices there. Mike Rubino, have you seen the comedian Gabriel? Good kicker. Thoughts on kicker for the Jets? Yes, Big Green. So we have 2 in camp right now. We have Ficken and we have Brett Maher. I would say that Maher has the edge. Interesting, though, Maher is great when it comes to 50-plus yarders. And he's probably one of the best at hitting 60 yarders. He's just horrible in the 40s and the 30s. So, which Ficken's no better. So I think Brett Maher's strength will give him the edge over Ficken because neither one of them are very accurate from short or as accurate as you like. So I would say Maher or a third person that's not on a team. I don't think Ficken wins the job. I met Kareem McKenzie at Hofstra after practice, the largest human I've ever met. Yeah, you got to go meet Mekhi Becton now. They do, Steven. Kickers do need love too. I always say this, and not just because I played the position, but kicker is the most interesting position in all of football because everybody hates you. I wouldn't say everybody hates you because the higher up you get, the more they really respect and know what you do, right? But the positions always devalue it, right? And people always want to make fun of kickers. But then in a moment's instant, they could be the most valuable, most important, most loved guy on the team, right? They come in to hit that game winner and everybody loves them, right? But if they miss it, everybody hates them, right? So it's such a crazy and fascinating position. And one that I tell you what takes a lot of concentration and a lot of focus because you could do nothing for a very long period of time and then be called upon to make a kick. And that's easy enough when it's hot out and it's warm out. It's not that bad. But when you're playing in the cold, playing in the rain, playing in the snow, that's not easy. Like what Vinatieri did was crazy. All those times kicking in the snow. to stay, and I mean the NFL, they got heated benches, they got those blowers and everything. Nothing I've ever had when I played, but to just stay warm and stay loose is a challenge for sure. Let's see what else. Hofstra got rid of that football team though. That was tough. How much better do you think the O-line will be for us this year if they are? I think they will be better. I don't think they're going to be dead last or second to last. I was actually just watching Matt O'Leary's video on it, and I think what he said was very accurate. He had us at about 20 in the league. I think between 15 and 20 is a realistic spot to kind of hope that they're at. It's a great improvement from 31st, right? So I think you're approaching middle of the pack, which is a good sign, right? Because I think you have at least 2 long-term answers on that offensive line. We're hoping 3 or 4, right? Because if you look at it this way, you're hoping, obviously, Mekhi Becton, long-term answer at left tackle. I think Connor McGovern is still young enough. He's like, 26? Long-term answer at center, right? So those 2 are the ones that you probably have the most faith could be the long-term answers at 2 key positions, right? Left tackle and center. Now you look at hopefully Fant, because Fant is still very young, and Clark, right? Clark maybe at that left guard spot. Hopefully he may not play this year, but hopefully he kind of works into that role. So then you're really just looking to replace that right guard spot and potentially that right tackle. That's a lot more manageable than like this year when we had to replace everybody. So it's just, like I said, it is really important that they get to about middle of the pack. Was fishing there yesterday, Steven. Get a couple nice. Yeah, game 1 last year killed the season. Loved it when a kicker decleats the ball carrier. I did that once in college. I had to make a tackle on a kickoff and put what I thought was a pretty big hit on the guy on the sideline, and it was on my sideline too, which was better because everybody started like jumping on me. But it's just funny when you do it because nobody's expecting the kicker to do that. But no, I never did the kicker push or try to trip people. I would try to hit them for sure. That's a huge improvement. It is, and something that they can definitely do. Is the O-line good enough for Donald to take a huge step? That's going to be interesting. I think so. It's just how quickly will they be good enough? Because they have to mesh together as a unit, and that's key, and that's very important. So we have to just see how quickly they can kind of mesh and build that cohesion together. But I think they can. Can they be good enough for him to take a huge step like week 1? Yeah, we'll have to see, right? At least Fant is athletic for a tackle. He is, and he has showed some good things on film. Like I said, he had a very good game against Nick Bosa. He had a very good game against there was another top edge rusher. He had a good game against too. I can't think of it right now. Donald also doesn't need the line to be excellent, right? Because he is very good at escaping the pocket. He's actually very good on the move. What we really need is we need that running game to kind of get going. I think that will help Sam more than anything, is being able to get the running game going. And then obviously, give him a little bit more time back there because I think we gave up over 50 sacks last year. So, but I think just improving that offensive line to help Bell to get some of that pressure off of Sam will be huge. And Bell, from all accounts, is in amazing shape. Fant can play tight. Yeah, but he's not going to be playing tight end for us. He's going to be playing tackle. Sam will spread the ball around. Yeah, he has a lot of options this year. So we don't have the elite number 1, but he is going to have a lot of options. So you have Perryman, Mims, Crowder, Vincent Smith, Herndon, Griffin, Lev Bell out of the backfield, P. Ryan out of the backfield. So he does have a lot of options to kind of throw to. We'll just have to see if he gets the time to do that. Yeah, that's what I was just mentioning. He definitely did play well against the 49ers and Nick Bosa. So, like I said, I don't. Like I said, I'm not a film guru. I have not seen Fant play besides just a little bit of clips. But from what apparently Joe Blewett said, Joe Blewett, I think, is very high on Fant. And the thing is, too, that deal is not that bad of a deal because we can essentially get out of it after this year with not much owed to him after. So it's a good opportunity to kind of see what he has. If he does play well, we have him for 2 more years. If not, we can kind of get out of it relatively unscathed. Sam should call the plays, too. I think Sam will be given more freedom and autonomy to make checks at the line. But yeah, he's not going to call the plays. Gase will call the plays, but I think he'll have the more ability and flexibility to audible out of plays and get into better plays if he feels or doesn't see something. One thing that I thought was very interesting that why can't I think of his name? The coach for the Rams. You guys all know him. I can't think of his name right now. But one of the interesting things that he said that he did, and obviously they have not been playing well the last few years, but in the early years they were doing extremely well. One of the things that he did that was very interesting was he would call the plays extremely quickly in the huddle. And the reason for this is that, now don't quote me on the exact amount of seconds, but I think it's like with 15 seconds left on the play clock, the communication in the quarterback's ears gets turned off. So up until that point, you can communicate with the quarterback. So what he was doing, Sean McVay, there we go. What Sean McVay was doing was to help his young quarterback. He would call the plays very quickly. And then when he got to the line, McVay would still be able to have the communication because there'd be more than 15 seconds on the play clock. And he'd be able to kind of talk to him and help him to see the defense and different things like that. So I thought that was very, very interesting. I'm kind of surprised that more teams don't do that with their young quarterbacks, just to kind of help them to decipher different things, maybe even make checks at the line. But then again, I guess you don't want to also be putting too much information into their head pre-snap. You want them to kind of be not thinking and just playing and reacting. So that could be the kind of downfall. Maybe that's why it was not sustainable for them and how they had a little bit of a drag back after that. But that was just something I thought was very interesting when I heard it at the time. And it sounded like a really good idea. I mean, maybe not every play, but sometimes, being able to kind of help them, maybe if it was a situation where, things were not going so well, try to get that play call in early, try to just help talk them through it, just to kind of get, the good vibes going, get them back on track again. But, like I said, we'll have to see what happens. I think we have a lot more depth this year at all these positions. And that's something that Joe Douglas definitely saw last year and wanted to bring in. You have to have depth in this league. You do. You can't just expect somebody, all your players to stay healthy or different things like that. So the one thing that I find interesting is the fact that we don't have a lot of depth at quarterback. Now, we did draft Morgan to be the backup, but it looks like he's going to be thrust into suiting up week 1, which is something I did not want to see. Like I said, hopefully Darnold plays every single snap this year, and it's a non-factor who's our backup. But if we do need it, I really don't want to see Morgan thrown into a game his rookie season, and I don't want to see anything. I don't want anything to do with Fales anymore or any of the other guys that we may have. So having Flacco, who's not going to be available for at least the first game, maybe the first 2, it is what it is, I guess. But I was just surprised that we brought him in when he was still kind of hurt. This offense for sure will run through Bell, especially if they're spending big on Maulers. Yeah, I think so. I think they need to use him a lot. Whether it be in the passing game, whether it be in the running game, Bell needs to have a big, big year this year to help this offense. And I think he can. Like I said, they brought in some guys that can really help out. Like I said, Becton, I think from the very beginning will be a mauler in the run game. I think the pass game is where we can expect to see some growing pains as a rookie, right? All rookies do. We're not expecting him to come in and be DeBrick in his prime or some of these other guys in the league, right? They all start out auto shaky. So the linemen we signed have higher pass protect ratings than run block. Yeah, but Becton's definitely a better run blocker, at least out of the gate. They definitely did. I do remember that, but they're still better run blockers than we had last year. So while they're better pass blockers than run blockers, they're better run blockers than what we had last year. So the blocking should be improved all the way around. Veterans to teach Becton. Yeah, and that's why I've kind of said it. And actually, I spoke to some guys on Twitter too. I just find it very interesting that everybody says that Lewis is going to be playing left guard and Van Roten's going to be playing right guard because Van Roten was a left guard last year too. And Van Roten's that veteran, that presence. I would like to see Van Roten at left guard and Lewis competing at right guard with maybe Clark and that other guy we brought in. I can't think of his name right now. Andrews. So to have that all three of them compete for right guard, and then maybe, like I said, eventually move Clark to left guard like after this upcoming year. But I would like Van Roten at left guard because he's a veteran presence, can kind of help Becton out over there. But apparently Van Roten also has some right guard experience, and that might be why people are kind of penciling him in at right guard because I don't think Alex Lewis has any experience over there. Still got to improve on that passing. 17th, not good enough. Now that Mosley and Adams are gone, I don't think it's going to be a top 5 defense anymore. I'm thinking maybe top 12. Yeah, I would agree, Steven. I think top 12, top 10 is still something that we can be at. We were top 10 last year without Mosley, but yes, we did have Adams. But I think if you take Adams out, right, but you add in Williamson, McDougald, yes, he's not as good as Adams, but he's a good player. Pierre Desir, an improved Blession Austin, and Zuniga, a much, much improved Quinn Williams. That defense overall is going to be better, or at least more talented, right? So while we are projected to be playing better teams, I know I don't really like that analogy, but so I can still see, top 12, top 10, but I wouldn't say top 5 anymore because with top 5, you need those star players to make star plays, right? So I think Mosley's playmaking abilities was huge. And I could have still said possibly top 5 if Mosley was playing, but because Mosley, like I said, he gets some interceptions, fumbles, right? He makes plays and gets you the ball. So we'll miss that for sure. But Williamson is a very, very good inside linebacker, and I'm a huge fan of Avery. So I'm happy that we kept him. Happy that he seems like he's healthy. I know he's on the PUP list. I know somebody mentioned that to me, but that was a procedural move. They want to work him in easy. It's going to be a long, training camp with being a little extended, no actual game. So no sense in rushing him back into things. So that's why they got him on there for now. Saves them a roster spot for right now. They can evaluate somebody else and then work him in slowly. Yeah, I think Zuniga could be the big thing with him is going to be he needs to stay healthy, right? Because he has a lot of talent, and it was really good to hear when I brought on SSN, the Dolphins YouTuber, who's also a huge Gators fan, for him to say how much of a fan he was of Zuniga and how good of a pick he thinks that was for us. Obviously, he's the fan of a division rival, so it probably pains him to say that, but I think Zuniga could have a very good career with us if he can stay healthy. And he's a hard worker. So don't put the whole Ja'Kai Polite comparison because they're completely different people. Polite's issue was that he did not work hard. Zuniga is a machine. He keeps, he's a high energy guy, playing until the whistle, right? You're not gonna see that from Zuniga. He's gonna work very, very hard. So I'm a fan of the whole draft class this year. I really am. I know a lot of people were down on the Morgan pick, but that was an extra pick that we got because we traded down. and still got Mims, the wide receiver that everybody wanted, and everybody was kind of cursing Joe Douglas when he traded down because they thought that we blew it to get him, right? So it was a free pick. I know, hey, just because it's a free pick doesn't mean we can waste it, but you need a backup. We saw that last year. You need somebody that you can be behind there and can really come in and keep you competitive, possibly win you a game if your starter goes down. You need it. And Joe Douglas saw it because he was with the Eagles. He's with these teams when they had these backups come in and do good things. So I like the pick, and why can't we draft a mid-round pick and try to develop them and maybe even trade them at one point? Other teams do it all the time, so why can't we try to? So I was a fan of all the picks. I really was. Like I said, we'll see on the trade, the Quincy Wilson trade. It's a 6th-round pick for a possible corner that was drafted, I think, in the 2nd round. So high potential for upside, not, very low risk with only a 6th-round pick. The only thing I would have possibly said, and we could have went out and got one in undrafted free agency because even like Blankenship was out there still. I was surprised we didn't draft a kicker. Like I said, they must feel confident about Ficken or Maher to have not went out and got one. So I thought that was a position that we needed. We could have addressed as well. But we'll see. Hopefully Maher, they can correct. Maybe they saw something in Maher where they think they can correct his technique a little bit to increase his accuracy, and they love his leg strength, right? So maybe he thinks he can correct him. I do like our special teams coordinator. I think that he's done a very, very good job for us. So I'm going to trust him. I think last year was kind of when it came to the kicking woes, I think that was kind of a little bit out of his control. Catanzaro was not terrible the year prior. He was not by any means great, but he was not terrible. They tried to bring him back. He ends up retiring during training camp, so it kind of put him in a rough spot. They brought a few guys in. We're scrambling to get somebody. Didn't really work out. So I don't really blame them for that because you don't expect your kicker to retire at the beginning of training camp. Middle of the pack offense, yeah. I think that's where we, need to be at a minimum, middle of the pack. And people will say, well, Gase has been, you bring in Gase to be the offensive guru, middle of the pack, still not good enough. But you have to make progress, right? You can't expect the 31st or 32nd ranked offense to all of a sudden be top 10 in the league, right? It's not going to happen. We don't have the talent there to do that. But if we can get middle of the pack and you're seeing good progress from Sam Darnold, you're seeing good progress from Denzel Mims, seeing good progress from Rashad Perryman, Chris Herndon, Becton, right? These guys are all playing well. Then I think Gase deserves another year after that, if that's the scenario, right? And if they're trending all in the right direction, it's a process, right? And then next year, maybe we improve the offensive line a little bit further, improve the wide receiver group a little bit further, and you're starting to build now, right? And then maybe you go from middle of the pack, maybe you're 18, right? 17 this year, a little below middle, right? And now you're at like 12 or 11, right? 10, somewhere like that. You're approaching that top 10, right? And you're trending in the right direction. You got to build it, right? You can't just go from worst to first. It's not going to happen. So, like I said, this year, I've been telling all Jet fans, just keep an open mind going into the year. Let's see what happens. We have we're going in with a healthy team. We'll see if there's any injuries during training camp. Hopefully, without the preseason games, we can come out pretty much unscathed when it comes to injuries. And hopefully this offensive line will gel, and we could actually see what this offense can do. Because it's very hard to see what an offense can do, an offensive scheme can do, when the offensive line is atrocious. So that should be vastly improved this year. So hopefully with that being said, we can actually see what this offense is really about and how good it could possibly be. So like I said, I'm definitely keeping an open mind, but if we start to see a lot of the stuff that we saw last year, I think that's going to be when it's time to, move on and find somebody else to run this offense and run this team. But I don't think they'll fire Gase midseason no matter what happens. It's not something the Johnsons have been known to do. Plus, I really don't think you have somebody in the wings to kind of call the plays. I think you'll be putting the team even further back because you're not going to fire Gase and make Darryl Loggins call the plays. That's not going to happen. And if you fire Gase and Loggins, what are you going to have Jim Bob Cooter call the plays? I mean, I just think that you're going to be putting yourself in a really bad spot when it comes to calling plays and offensive game plans. I think it's going to be even worse. So I think we have Gase for at least a year. Players were saying that learning the playbook, aka system, through the Zoom stuff was much better. They soaked up more info. Now they just have to execute on the field, obviously. Hey, that's pretty good. I didn't hear them say that, but I'm glad that they're able to take advantage of the Zoom and feel like they're learning the playbook more. I always think that, every year as you're further and further into a playbook, it definitely gets easier and it gets better because the first year, when you're first learning, you're trying to remember the verbiage, you're trying to remember your assignment. And that's pretty much it, right? You're like, look, I got to figure out what I got to do first. But then as you start getting into a year 2, year 3, right, you're knowing what everybody's doing, right? And that just makes it a lot better because you're understanding, you're getting more in-depth knowledge of like Steven said, the ins and outs of the playbook, the play call, right? So you may now see that, hey, I'm not just running this out route. I gotta run this out route hard to kind of clear this guy out because the play is really designed to go to the guy running the post, right? Or whatever the case may be. So you'll be able to better understand the concepts behind it because now you understand what everybody's doing, why it's getting called, where it's really projected to go. So I think that takes some time to understand. Other players staying in camp until the season starts. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they're just. Do you mean like a bubble setting, like where they can't leave, or they staying at Florham Park until the season starts? I don't think it's a bubble like where they can't leave, but they are staying at Florham Park. There's no reason to go anywhere else because it's not like a regular offseason where they're going to maybe go up to Cortland or go here or there for fans. They're not going to do that because fans can't come to the practices anyway. So I think they're just going to stay put, have the whole training camp. No, you just can't leave Bronx. Yeah, no, I think they can. I'm sure that hopefully they're not leaving and not, going anywhere but besides like their houses or whatnot, because you just don't want to get yourself exposed or the opportunity to get exposed more. So disappointing we can't be watching preseason this week. Yeah, I do miss the preseason. Like I said, I mean, I would not. I got to admit, I'm not going to sit there and watch the whole preseason game. Once it really gets to the people that I have no idea who they are, or not even that I have no idea who they are, that just know that they're not going to make the team, or they're not projected to really play much. I kind of just get disinterested when you got like third and fourth stringers out there. But like I said, the one good thing is less of a chance for players to get injured, right? So hopefully, no, 57. Well, yeah, 55. Yeah, because it was 53 went up to 55. Yes, 2 extra players this year. 55-man roster. Never missed a preseason game. Nice. Do you attend in person? You miss Hard Knocks. We have one Jets Drive every Tuesday night. That's even better. I'm pumped for this one. This one coming up is going to be about Darnold and Jordan Palmer, and it's got me all fired up for Tuesday night. 48. Who's in it? Oh, active. I have no idea how many active. Do you know just? Oh, you don't attend the games. You just watch. But yeah, I tell you what, our crew the Jets crew does a very good job with those One Jets Drives documentaries, whatever you want to call them. They really get you fired up for sure. So I'm excited for that. I think they're going to be doing it every Tuesday at 8 or so. So that's going to be cool to keep watching. Give us a little bit of insight into what's going on too, especially like I said, without really being reporters or fans there, we don't get as much information. But they really haven't started the big practices yet anyway. So I don't know if they're going to let any reporters at the practices or not, how they may do that. But we'll have to just see how much information we get like on how well they're playing. Because, when the reporters are there, they'll be like, oh, Sam Darnold was 10 for 15 with a touchdown and an interception. Right? They'll like rattle off stats from practice. So give you a little bit of something if you weren't able to go actually watch the practices. Just give you a little idea of who's doing what. You'd also get a lot of clips, right? A reporter may film something on his phone, post it on Twitter, whatever the case may be. Nice play. So it'll be interesting to see if the Jets just do a little bit more of that, just to kind of get the fans excited. Obviously, they don't want to show too much, but just a nice catch or something like that. So I'm sure through the One Jets Drive, we'll kind of see quite a bit of that. But like I said, this Tuesday is going to be a good one for sure. So what else do we got? Andrew, have you ever went to any games? I know you said you just watched the preseason games, but I used to go to one game a year. My uncle had season tickets, and he used to take me once a year to a game. And until they got the new stadium, and my uncle was like, no way am I paying you thousands of dollars for the rights to buy my season tickets. So he gave them up at that point. But we had been going for so long that one of the trees in the parking lot, we carved our names into it. We always tailgated at the same spot. It was a lot of fun, man. I miss it. And I got to go check out when they played the Dolphins one year because and then eventually I'll get back up north to check out a home Jets game. But seeing Becton in a uniform and the O-line blocking would have been great. Gotta love a Knish squared fried mashed potatoes. Good eating. Yeah, put some mustard on there. I actually one time, Steven, you got to try it. I just had them and I grilled up some burgers and used the Knish as the bun. It was fabulous. I actually have to do it again. It was really, really good. Okay. Yeah, it's just like I said, I definitely want to go to some games. I want to bring my son to a game. I have two sons. One that you guys saw in the video, he'll be 5 in October. The other one's only 14 months, so he's still a little too young for that. But definitely want to bring him to some games. Like I said, probably be when we play the Dolphins because that stadium's probably about 2 hours away from me. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get back up to New York at some point too. Try to catch a game as well. Got to bring them to MetLife at some point. We'll just see how long it takes. But hey guys, it was great hanging out again tonight. I'll be back again next Sunday. We just got to see what happens. See if there's any news coming up. Like I said, guys, hey, check out that Tuesday night One Jets Drive. It's gonna be fun, man. We'll talk about it on Sunday. But glad you guys enjoyed that video I put out on Friday. Thank you guys for hanging out again tonight. If you guys have not, I think I might have saw a few new names. I know some people have been changing their names recently. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Hit the bell. Get all the notifications as well. And I will see you guys next week. And as always, jet up.